In today's video, we're going to be having a look at the new NECA Toys Child's Play Retro Cloth Chucky. So, just how tall is this killer doll? He's about 5¼ possibly 5½ inches in height. Just before we have a look at his accessories, we'll just move over the new released Retro Cloth Chucky, and we'll bring in the original Retro Cloth Chucky. This one here was a Shout Factory NECA Toys collaboration exclusive, where the only way that you could get this particular figure was to get the Shout Factory Child's Play Blu-ray DVD. And it came with some posters and other cool things as well. This one was a great figure to pick up, and hopefully along the ways everybody was hoping, collector-wise, was hoping that NECA was eventually going to re-release the Chucky figure in a new retro cloth release on his own that didn't require you having to pre-order it with Shout Factory. And ultimately, this is what we get here with the new retro cloth release. You'll see probably right off the bat that even though they are sharing the exact same outfit, the original Chucky is quite a bit taller than what we're getting here with the retro cloth second release. And here's a look at the both figures, which actually are very identical, again, from the shoes up to about the point of the neck. It looks as if maybe they had added a shorter neck possibly to this Chucky than what we got with the original Child's Play Good Guy Chucky. There's the back of the figures. Again, they are exact copies to one another. And we'll just kind of put them there for a second just to get them to stand. Sometimes they are a little temperamental to standing. Sometimes they do want to topple over a little bit. By the way, the Good Guy Chucky, the new released retro cloth figure, came with a Good Guys box, which is also the identical box to what we got with the Shout Factory release. So like these boxes are identical to one another. There's nothing really different between, or I shouldn't say there's no difference between the boxes. There's the back. And there's the other sides. I mean, one could say that this one does have a little bit more of a yellow tint to it. It looks like it's a little bit more of a vibrant, maybe darker, richer yellow than this one here. Maybe the yellows are a slight bit different. Other than that, though, the figure boxes are exactly the same. So we'll just move those out of the way. By the way, this particular, the original retro cloth Good Guy Chucky, his accessory, his one accessory, was that of a Good Guy's hammer. That's the only thing he came with. And if you want to see, by the way, a more in-depth review of this guy, I just recently did a throwback of the retro cloth Shout Factory Chucky. There's the hammer that he comes with. It fitted somewhat easily into his hand, just like so. And he can hold it. Now, I did mention that in this review, this guy's review, that his arms were or seemed long. They haven't fixed that with the new release, the retail release Chucky. They haven't seemed to fix that problem. I still find that his arms are way too long. I also can't seem to quite get the hair just right. The hair seems like it wants to fight with me. But the arms do seem like they are a little on the long side. Could have afforded to be a little bit shorter. The rest of his proportions seem pretty good though. And let's have a look at his face. Obviously much angrier than this one right here. He's also a little bit darker as well. Let me bring in the other one back into play so you can see the difference between the two. This one has almost more of a grayish, muddier looking flesh tone to this Good Guy here. The arms and hands, for that matter, look like they're almost similar. This one's got a little bit more of a reddish tone to it than this one here, but there is a very stark difference, not only in the length of neck, but also the flesh tones between this new released Chucky and the original retro cloth Chucky. Speaking from this one, I do like the facial expression. Chucky's surprisingly are a very difficult figure to make. Like, companies have tried the Mezcos, NECAs in the past. McFarlane Toys, of course, got their hand in it as well, releasing one of the earliest Chuckies. But no one seems to really be able to get it just right. That angry-looking Chucky. A lot of times it does seem off. This one, for the most part, looks pretty good. And I will be anxious to have a look at the Ultimate Chucky that NECA is going to be releasing as well, which I think is going to be mid to late November. But this one is pretty good, actually. Flesh tones aside, which again seems a little too dark and muddy for my liking, but the face sculpt is actually pretty good. You can see his teeth, slightly off white, very off white. And his tongue sculpted in there and painted in pink. And you got a little bit of the little grays in there as well. Got some freckles and very piercing blue eyes. Really, really recessed and really furrowed sort of brow as well. It's a decent figure. Very, very happy with how he ended up coming out. The coloring of the hair is good. A nice, vibrant orange. Very dark, strong orange. Again, the hair I can't seem to get quite right. You might probably see me doing this a lot over the course of this review, for whatever time is left in this review. It just seems like the hair isn't 100% right. And going back to the original one here, I don't know, maybe it seems like this one, the hair is done a little bit better on the good guy version of Chucky versus the angrier Chucky. Something just seems like it's not quite rooted right. Maybe a little bit of kind of brushing to the side will fix it. But it seems like something's bothering me with the sides. Something seems off. Maybe like it's a little too long. I don't know. Something seems off on the hair. Which seems like it got a little bit things better done here than what we're getting here. It's much more, I guess, a slightly longer hair as well. Maybe that's what's throwing me off for it. Chucky gets a little bit longer hair in the subsequent sequels, but it seems like in the beginning he has still kind of like a very somewhat tidy looking hairstyle, which gets a little bit more crazier here on the new release than the original. Posability on this guy, by the way, is exactly the same. His head rotates all the way around. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about the accessories. Hinges up and down. You got joints on the shoulders, universal joints. Technically, it could rotate all the way around, but you got to be mindful of the fabric. Bend in the elbow. Rotation in the hand and hinge in the wrist. Waist swivel. Forward and back motion on the legs. Bend at the knee. Rotation, hinge in the foot. I wish kind of that this guy could have come with peg holes on the undersides of his feet. By the way, there is the sculpted good guy's undersole of his feet. But I wish he did have had some sort of peg holes that if you wanted to have him slightly moving, you know, having his foot forward kind of thing and having him lunging with the knife, I could have accommodated that by pegging one foot, maybe this foot here, to a display stand, so I actually could have had him as if he's actually moving. Standing him like this, as one would expect, is very difficult. A lot of times he'll just end up falling over. Okay, so let's have a look at this guy's accessories. Normally I know I would look at posability last, but let's bring in this good guy, bad guys, different accessories. He comes with actually 4, one of which may seem somewhat familiar. He does come with the same good guy's hammer. Decent enough wood grain that has been incorporated into the handle portion, a darker gray borderline black to the top of the hammer, and they've even sculpted the area in which the top of the hammer has been affixed, has been added to the handle, the wood handle. Hammer looks good. Chucky also gets himself a bat. Still a bit of that wood grain incorporated there as well. Using a almost gray, almost brown color, a wash that's been added to the bat there. Then he comes with a pair, or I guess pair implies more identical. He comes with 2 knives. One a regular conventional cutting knife, which is unfortunately a little bit sticky because it's been taped inside the package with tape. Tape basically covers over top of it. I took the tape off. It's still a little sticky on the blade portion. Rivets are painted in nicely in silver. Again, care to detail. You've got the little in-between area of the metal in which the wood of the handle has been riveted on either side. Small, appreciated touch. Then we have the more voodoo knife. Some skulls, crossbones, flame down below there. Probably my preferred method of displaying Chucky would be with this knife here. In the beginning of this review, I had the knife kind of wedged into his hand. The knife holds fairly easy, actually. It doesn't fall out or anything like that. And there's a close-up look, by the way, at Chucky's hand. Slightly wrinkled, but willing to accept that. And again, you just kind of wedge the knife in between his 4 fingers and his thumb, and holds perfectly fine. There are his accessories that come included with the figure. Just before we actually wrap things up, I'll just kind of move everything over. Something I usually do at the beginning of this review, I'll just kind of put him to the side. Here is the package artwork that came included or inside the blister when you get the figure. I like to showcase these because I think they look really nice. This artwork was also part of the Shout Factory NECA collaboration, in which this was incorporated, I think, into a poster. And I think actually it was even incorporated to the Blu-ray. I have to go back and double check that, but really nice artwork there on Chucky. And I want to find the means. Probably going to get some sheet protectors and get all my retro cloth cards put inside sleeves. So I think that's artwork that NECA really should consider releasing as an individual book, like The Art of NECA. I definitely would pick that up. Fallen over, yes. Slightly a little on the murkier side of flesh tone, correct. But still, overall, pretty happy with this figure. Fans of the original Child's Play were a little disappointed, or at least some of them were a little disappointed, that they didn't get a chance to get the initial Blu-ray combo pack that was packed with the good guy version of Chucky. They had hoped that along the way NECA would release that figure as a standalone retail release, and to some extent we did get that here, although as you can see, very drastically different in the face sculpt. I still kind of think I like the original a little bit more because it represents a good guy, maybe minus the possession of Charles Lee Ray, and the fact that you can get it with the good guys box. I do really think that that's neat. And as I've done in previous videos as well, incorporating that with some of the 6-scale figures, you can see that scale-wise, that good guy Chucky fits in perfectly well. This one I do like the fact that for NECA, and I can understand NECA's standpoint that the other figure was an exclusive collaboration with Shout Factory, that for a second attempt at releasing this guy, they would have gone something a little bit different, other than just simply re-releasing him again. Maybe down the road, you never know, we might get a original good guy Chucky and then the angrier Chucky that we're looking at right now in a combo pack. That's a possibility that NECA could approach. This figure I quite like. It has a couple of additional accessories that the original good guy Chucky didn't have. His neck is a little shorter, but I think proportionally it looks a little bit better than what the original good guy version of Chucky had. And I think the flesh tone, while it's slightly on a muddier side, I think they've got a closer looking look to how Chucky appears in the movie. It's really funny that how many companies that have tried their efforts to release a Chucky, and a lot of times the face looks disastrous. This is a good stepping point to eventually the release of the ultimate Child's Play Chucky, which is going to have multiple different faces, one of which being a face very similar to this one. I'm looking forward to reviewing him, and he's going to be coming out near the end of this year. Speaking of end of this year as well, for those that missed their chance to get the original Good Guys Chucky that was packed along with the Chucky Blu-ray, another FYI for you, NECA is also going to be collaborating with Shout Factory for an end-of-year Christmas release where they're going to be re-releasing a Silent Night, Deadly Night on Blu-ray along with a NECA retro cloth Billy Caldwell. Silent Night, Deadly Night, from a horror standpoint, is one of my favorite horror Christmas movies of all time, and rest assured, this guy has already pre-ordered him. So I would say if you get a chance, and you, speaking of retro cloth releases with Blu-rays, if you get a chance, try to swing over to Shout Factory, see if the pre-orders are still available to get the Billy Caldwell along with the Silent Night, Deadly Night 2-pack, because as you see with the retro cloth Chucky that we get before, what we got now as a re-release is a little bit different than what we got initially. Great figure, great accessories, and a great stepping stone to what we will eventually get with the ultimate Chucky. I certainly can't wait for that. In the meantime, today we were having a look at the new NECA release of a Child's Play retro cloth Chucky. If you guys haven't had a chance yet to subscribe to this channel, shame on you. Hit that little subscribe button down below this video and make sure you never miss a beat when it comes to future videos. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.